Imagine a nation walking a tightrope as the world burns below. On one side, Nazi Germany and the Axis demand resources. On the other, the Allies urge alliance. This was Turkey's reality during World War II, surrounded by conflict, yet determined to avoid the battlefield. Turkey's war was fought in diplomatic backrooms, not trenches. President İsmet İnönü's overriding goal: keep Turkey out of the war at all costs. Memories of the Ottoman collapse and the War of Independence were fresh. The nation was not ready for another catastrophe. İnönü's strategy was active neutrality, balancing promises, pacts, and delays to keep all sides guessing. The decisions made in Ankara didn't just save Turkey from devastation. They shaped its future, leading to its Cold War alignment with the West. This is the story of Turkey's high-stakes survival, a drama of impossible choices, quiet endurance, and a nation's will to remain unbroken. Let's explore how Turkey walked the tightrope and emerged intact. To understand Turkey's Deadliest stance, we must look back. Born from the ashes of the Ottoman Empire, Turkey was forged by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, a visionary who modernized the nation with radical reforms. Atatürk abolished the Sultanate, introduced a new alphabet, and empowered women, transforming society. By his death in 1938, Turkey was still fragile, economically weak, militarily unprepared, and forging a new identity. İsmet İnönü, Atatürk's trusted general, inherited a nation haunted by the Ottoman collapse and wary of war. His mission: preserve the republic at all costs. As Hitler invaded Poland in 1939, Turkey was vulnerable, still recovering, not ready for conflict, but too strategically important to ignore. Its geography made it a coveted prize for both Axis and Allies. With war looming, Turkey became the world's most important neutral state, courted by all, committed to none. The stage was set for a diplomatic game of survival. İnönü's caution would define every move as the world descended into chaos. The great game was about to begin. Geography is destiny, and for Turkey, it meant control of the Bosphorus and Dardanelles, the vital link between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. The straits were coveted by all. The Soviets needed access to the oceans. Germany wanted a route to oil and a way to trap the Soviet fleet. And the Allies saw them as a lifeline to Russia and a barrier against Axis expansion. The Montreux Convention of 1936 gave Turkey control over these waterways, allowing it to close them to warships in wartime. This made Turkey both vulnerable and powerful, a gatekeeper in a global conflict. President İnönü used the straits as a diplomatic lever, extracting concessions and deterring aggression. The straits were Turkey's greatest risk, but also its strongest shield. All sides, Germany, the Soviets, and the Allies, vied for influence in Ankara. The fate of the war in the region hinged on Turkey's choices. With every decision, Turkey walked a fine line between survival and disaster. The straits were more than water, they were the fulcrum of Turkey's wartime diplomacy. In this tug of war, Turkey's neutrality became its greatest weapon. As war erupted, Turkey's diplomatic balancing act began. In 1939, Turkey signed a mutual assistance pact with Britain and France, promising help, but with an escape clause to avoid conflict with the Soviets. When France fell and Germany loomed on Turkey's border, the pressure to choose sides was immense. German diplomats demanded alliance or passage. Refusal risked invasion. İnönü played for time, signing a non-aggression pact with Germany just days before Hitler invaded the Soviet Union. This bought Turkey precious time and kept its options open. While reassuring Germany, Turkish diplomats maintained ties with Britain and negotiated with the wary Soviets. Ankara became a crossroads of intrigue, with ambassadors from all sides vying for influence. İnönü's government promised much, committed to little, and kept Turkey out of the war. The High Wire Act continued, every move calculated to avoid disaster. Turkey's diplomacy was a masterclass in survival. The stakes could not have been higher. While leaders negotiated, ordinary Turks bore the burden of neutrality. Massive mobilization drained the workforce, crippling agriculture and industry. Rationing, shortages, and black markets became daily realities. The controversial wealth tax hit minorities hard, deepening social divides. Fear of invasion was constant, Blackout drills, military alerts, and anxious headlines shaped daily life. Propaganda urged unity and sacrifice to preserve independence. Despite hardship, the memory of the War of Independence united the nation. Turks endured, knowing the devastation of war was far worse. Their quiet resilience was a different kind of battle, a war of nerves and endurance. The home front was a crucible of sacrifice and survival. Turkey's neutrality was anything but passive. Its chromium reserves were vital for both Axis and allies, essential for making weapons and armor. Turkey played both sides, trading chromium for German arms and Allied cash, modernizing its army while profiting from the war. The chrome game made Turkey an economic linchpin. Meanwhile, Ankara and Istanbul became espionage capitals. Spies from every nation converged in hotels and back alleys. Intelligence was traded, secrets sold, and Turkish officials watched it all, gathering information to inform their next diplomatic move. The Cicero affair, where Allied secrets were sold to Germany, highlighted the stakes. Turkey's intelligence services became adept at reading the intentions of the great powers. In the Shadow War, Turkey was not just a bystander, it was a shrewd player. Neutrality meant constant vigilance and clever maneuvering. By 1943, the Allies gained the upper hand. Stalingrad and North Africa changed everything. Churchill pressed İnönü to join the war, promising weapons and a place in the post-war order. At the Adana meeting, İnönü remained cautious. Turkey's military and infrastructure were unprepared, and German retaliation was a real threat. He also feared Soviet ambitions after the war. İnönü agreed in principle to join the Allies, but only when victory was certain and Turkey was ready. For 2 more years Turkey delayed, tilting gradually toward the Allies. In 1944, Turkey cut ties with Germany and stopped chromium exports. Only in February 1945, with Germany collapsing, did Turkey declare war, securing a seat at the United Nations, but avoiding combat. Turkey's timing was impeccable, joining the victors without suffering the costs of war. The tightrope walk had succeeded. Turkey emerged unscathed, its neutrality intact. The war ended, but new challenges loomed. Turkey's greatest victory was survival. While Europe lay in ruins, Turkey was intact. Its neutrality had spared it devastation. But peace brought new dangers. Stalin's Soviet Union now threatened from the north, demanding control of the straits and territory. Turkey's wartime caution gave way to Cold War urgency. The Truman Doctrine in 1947 brought American aid, anchoring Turkey in the Western camp. In 1952, Turkey joined NATO, cementing its strategic alliance with the West. The legacy of Mr.Zooiii was clear: survival through diplomacy, not battle. Turkey's leaders proved that clever statecraft could be mightier than armies. The memory of walking the tightrope remains central to Turkish strategy today. Sometimes the hardest wars are those fought without firing a shot.